This game to me has proven that one player can alter your identity pretty quickly, or one position group can alter your identity pretty quickly. Um, I think about some of the best teams and the ones that are the most physical or whatever it may be. Like the team is going to take on the identity of the best player, right? I mean, I think that's probably fair. And I think Kentucky's best players are the two running backs. And the team has completely taken on their identity as like hardcore, hit the hole at 1,000 miles an hour, throw caution to the wind, and let it rip. So I don't know. I've just in this week where we start to kind of assess where things are going with Alabama, it's led me to appreciate Kentucky a lot because their best players are complete G5 grinders that are eager to prove something's wrong.
Yeah, it's kind of that mentality that we've talked about with Alabama. Can they get back to it? Where is the team as it pertains to that? I think if you look at last week, Greg, a lot of people think that some of the issues are mentality, competitive spirit, drive, heart, will, all those things pretty much wrapped into one. I think competitive spirit might be maybe competitive heart, probably the best phrase to sum up all of it when we're trying to reference what went wrong, what we didn't see, what we need to see more of. And I've listened to a lot of, I've kind of turned into you when it comes to what I consume the week of a game. I didn't used to go listen to like a lot of local stuff, and now I seem to do that more and more. And I listened to
Mm-hmm.
a lot of Alabama podcasts this week. A lot of people covering Alabama. And there was one specifically. They had AJ McCarron and our buddy Tyler Siskey on together, along with a couple of other gentlemen, and they did an excellent job. It was long, but they had some really good conversations. I enjoyed it. And when it came time to talk about this game this weekend, it was all, hey, it's ULM. They're going to come out. They're going to make things look the way they need to. They'll get back to it. They'll dominate, probably look great against Wisconsin, but we'll find out a couple weeks in Athens. And I think that there is one fair question around that. And because I think by saying that, you're comparing this team to what, and there haven't been a ton. I mean, we haven't seen a ton of talented or what we believe to be good Alabama teams have a bad loss, have an ugly loss. And the program in general for the last 12 years hasn't really had it very much. And then before that, it's not going to happen all the time. So to compare it to previously how teams bounce back, would that not be a little bit dangerous, Greg? Because those teams that did bounce back, they had that mentality. They had the DNA. They had the competitive spirit, the competitive heart. That was inside of them. So I almost think you got to be a little bit careful as to if that's really the issue and it's gone, do you just bounce back? Because if all of the mental toughness and the emotions and the feelings are any kind of a real issue, I don't know. I'm not pointing a finger and saying it is because I don't know. I really don't. I might find out. I'm in Alabama's facility today. I'll go to practice right after the show. We'll meet with the coaches after that. Maybe I find out some today. We'll share it on the broadcast if I do. But if, and I'm just saying if, because we do not have an idea, if that's a real problem, I don't think that auto corrects itself this week. If anything, I would think that this week of practice would be more difficult than the last 3 weeks were preparing for Florida State. Because if those are your problems, and now you're walking around and everybody's telling you they don't like you anymore, and they're not retweeting you anymore, and they want your coach fired, it'd be more difficult to get ready for an actual game. So
Yep.
that's why I think the physical bounce back, what we get, if we get it, how we get it, actually becomes more important in this game than maybe some that we can remember in the last however many years of Alabama football.
Couldn't agree more. And what does Louisiana Monroe do offensively that Alabama struggled with?
The first thing that I'll throw out to you is stretch zone.
Stretch zone and misdirection.
Yeah, and they'll you and I've talked about it with multiple programs. They'll build off that splitters. They'll do boots off of it, play action off of it. Probably going to give you 2-3 variations of a reverse off of it, jet sweep off of it. I agree 100%. That's going to be a big part. They're going to play with your eyes, and then they're going to try to make you play every gap, sideline to sideline. And if there's that tiptoeing around, they're going to have the ability to put a foot in the ground, get north and south, and probably have some space to run the ball.
Yeah. I think that's a big question mark is, does the defense play better? And I think that's what was so irritating about last week's performance is a lot of the stuff they got with is stuff that they've got with in the past. And I think that's what people are having a hard time with. And now, look, there's a lot of, I don't think coming out and just winning by 40 this week is an automatic. I don't. I mean, I hope that happens badly. That would be, I'd, as an alumnus and as a fan, as a supporter of Kalen and the program and the players, I absolutely want that to happen. It might not. I mean, I am a little concerned for sure. I want the program to succeed. I want them to win, and I want them to look good in the process of winning. So yeah, I'm really hoping that it looks great this weekend. But I'm not taking anything for granted right now with where things are at.
No, nor should we. And that's why I think it becomes a little bit more important of what we're going to see tomorrow night than maybe some realize. Because if some of the things that people do believe are a concern, then it will show up again, and it'll be a little bit of an issue again. There'll be some injuries that play into that. We'll talk about that a little bit later in the show. Auburn's going to get Ball State, and I don't know. I struggle to look at what we are going to learn from Auburn in this game, GMAC, because is it just how you handle yourself from a play calling perspective? I would imagine that Hugh Freeze wants to give Jackson Arnold a little bit more and continue to try to build that confidence like he discussed through the offseason. I mean, almost a 43.5-point favorite. I feel like that is a lot, but those receivers are going to need some touches because they didn't get a ton in the first game. So you want to try to probably satisfy them and then continue to sort of get Jackson Arnold going from a confidence perspective throwing the football. I imagine we'll probably see more than that than's necessary.
Probably. And then the one thing I didn't love last week was how often Jackson Arnold just took off one to run. I want to see him go through his progressions. To me, you can't just against, Georgia, can't decide to tuck it and then run around them. You know what I mean? It'd be one thing if he was just running up inside and he did a couple times attack north-south. I'm great with that. But there were a few times in which he tried to win around them, running around those players. That's not sustainable against SEC teams. It's just not. So I'll be curious to see how that goes a little bit. I think the passing game was really substandard last week with accuracy and ball placement. And there was a lot of downfield efforts and attempts, so I know that some of that is going to factor in for sure because it's not like they were high percentage completions. But I thought the accuracy it needs to grow drastically. Which, by the way, this is a great opponent to do so against. So I'm great with them force feeding the passing game this week. I think this is a great opportunity for them to do that.
And I think it'll be done. Anything defensively from Auburn that you need to see different or better or maybe executed to a higher level? Obviously, some of the stuff in zone coverage, a couple of guys that were able to find space, make a few plays. Last week it was a lot of passing yards, but a good quarterback.
Yeah. Some
good players, good ball catchers. And I think a little bit, too, was how DJ was playing it, knowing how that game was going. Wasn't overly aggressive from a coverage standpoint, so you gave up a few of those.
I'd like to see a little tighter coverage. I'd like to see a little more man. I'd like to see a little bit more up in their face defend. And I know sometimes you're going to – why would you play man when you got a guy that can move and hurt you with his legs and you got pretty good wideouts and a tight end that's a nightmare. I'd like to see just maybe a touch more man, a little bit more from what they're doing and just not so much passive over the top bend don't break. I want to see get up in their face and challenge them. And I just want to know they have it. That's my big question.
Here's the other part about last week, GMAC, we haven't spent much time talking about. And, going back to that Auburn defense, remember when we were talking about this game in the offseason and we were trying to preview it a little bit, and we talked about the coordinator that was coming in and his background, but we also talked about what that group has been for years and been one of the best in the country at it, with all the same characters coming back on that offensive line and in the backfield. You and I hadn't mentioned this too much, but did we see a stretch zone play from Baylor in that game Friday night? I don't think they ran one.
No, I'm trying to think. Well, I mean, so much of it was predicated out of So much of it was predicated on offset gun. Like I don't feel like last year I saw as much with Grimesy. I mean, every play was stretch zone. So maybe
That's what
they've
I'm
been
saying.
slowly but surely.
Yeah, your O-line and your backs were so good at it. I would just say
Yeah.
this. Like, my understanding was
Well, I
talking
think
to
maybe
people
they're slowly
there.
but surely working away from it because they want the element of the offset run game. Like I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, but you're right. I mean I didn't see any of it.
Well, and my point in saying that was they had to be preparing for it. You had to be ready for it, because if that group knew how to execute it, regardless of what the offensive line coach and the offensive coordinator had done in their past coming in, you knew that that group was capable of it, and that's the hardest part, is learning how to do it. They knew how to do it. So why would you not put it in? And I'm not afraid to say it. Talking to folks there, it was going to stay. They were going to keep it. Maybe they're like, he's an Auburn guy. We got to tell him we're going to keep it in there. He's going to rat us out. I don't know. Maybe that was it. But we didn't see any of it. And I know they had to prepare for it. So maybe a little bit more leeway we could give the Auburn defense on some things, because they thought they were going to get some things that they didn't get. I don't really know.
Sure.
But I'm with you. You want to see them be a little bit better in coverage. You want to see things change there just a little bit more. You guys let us know what you're looking for this weekend. Auburn, Alabama. Tweet in at Mac and Cube. You can be a part of the show, 800-239-9569. Going Max Ball for the majority of the show today. So we got a lot to cover, a lot of games to get to. There are some massive matchups across college football this weekend. Some big ones in the SEC. We'll start breaking them down. When we come back, Stanford Steve is going to be with us at 7:30. Chris Lowe going to be with us at 9:20 today. And before we get to break, I'm going to tell you about Train, because that Alabama heat feels like it's back. We had nice, cool weather there for a week or two, and it looks like now we're going to go back to just being sweltering. That heat and humidity can be brutal. Don't let it affect your home and family. Keep them comfortable with an affordable Train cooling system. They've been recognized as America's most trusted brand 11 consecutive years, and they're the official cooling partner here at Jox. Find a comfort specialist near you at train.com. And remember, it's hard to stop a train. Okay, when we come back, let's start going into other games around the SEC and college football that we're looking forward to this weekend. We'll do it next on Jox. Welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. College football is back tonight. Greg, are you surprised that no schools, no conferences would go head-to-head with the NFL last night? I know it's opening night. I know it's probably going to do like 30 million people. I get it. But you had a pretty good audience when that lightning hit last night. I bet people flipping over.
Probably. I mean, everyone's scared of the NFL, and you said in the break, it's like, I mean, we're better off going against 14 college games than one NFL game. And, you know what's sick is, like, 14 college games is probably not going to do, depending on the college game, it's probably not going to do as much as one NFL game, depending on the college game, which is kind of crazy. Now, you take a couple big brands, big programs, something on the line, you get what we got last week with 10+ million viewers across 3 windows on ABC and an average audience of about 8.6 from sun up to sundown on Saturday all the way through. And that's with a 2.5 with Tennessee and Syracuse thrown in there. So that number could have been enormous if Tennessee and Syracuse would have been watchable for some. But it's crazy. The NFL is just a monster. It's just a ratings monster.
But like I know that, I mean, there are just college football fans out there that don't care about the Eagles and don't care about the Cowboys, and like they'll put North Alabama on, or they'll put Tennessee, Chattanooga, and Mercer on. Like they want to watch college football. And how many people are set up now for multi-screens in their home? So that thing could have been on. It's and then of course you're going to flip it when you get the lightning or whatever. I was surprised that nobody wanted to do it, and especially since it's pretty apparent that the NFL has said middle finger to the rest of football, including high school tonight with the Chiefs and Chargers at 7 on YouTube, and then obviously what they're doing later in the season, going into Saturdays again, Black Friday and whatnot. Who cares? Like I just don't know if you're going to do much better tonight against 4 or 5 other college games, or Saturday night against 20 college games, than you would have last night if you were the standalone college football game that was on. Nonetheless, tonight we're going to get James Madison, Louisville. Both teams 1-0, 6 o'clock ESPN2. Western Illinois got Northwestern. That's 6:30 on the Big Ten Network. Northern Illinois, Maryland on the Big Ten Network as well. And then you'll get Eastern Washington at Boise, 8 o'clock on FS1, the late kick tonight. I do think if you're looking for something tonight, Greg, Louisville's a team that we think has a chance to extend, be pretty good. Miller Moss, 223 in the opener. Did throw 2 interceptions, though.
Yes.
So that one just to kind of see what Louisville really looks like. And actually, one thing that we didn't do last week was talk about what a big win that was for John Sumrall in Tulane, 23-3 over Northwestern. I mean, they smashed a Big Ten opponent week 1, pretty impressive. And Northwestern's got Oregon next week, so one that you probably have to get against Western Illinois this week. But yeah, Louisville should be an intriguing watch tonight, G-Mag, just to kind of see where they are compared to what we thought they could be.
Well, not just Louisville. The other side, G5 playoff contender in James Madison. So, I mean, I think everybody really likes James Madison. Everyone that's watched him really likes James Madison. So not only do I like the ACC side of this, but I also like James Madison's side of this, man. Like, that's a really good football team. And I don't know. Look, I don't know how it's all going to shake up in the G5, but now that Boise's lost a game, the door's open for everybody. And if we want to go one step further, guess who's playing another playoff contender out of the G5? Guess who else is going tonight? That'd be the Liberty Flames taking on the Jacksonville State Gamecocks, which, that game's tomorrow. I thought the game was tonight.
Tomorrow,
oh, well. Anyways, Liberty a slight this might be their toughest game of the year. So if you want to, between this game tonight with Louisville and James Madison and tomorrow's Liberty Jacksonville State, you could immediately have 3 G5 playoff contenders that are thrown out the window like overnight, and by week 2 it's anybody's bet,
Absolutely. All right, let's roll into tomorrow, start looking at a couple of the SEC games, what we want, what we think we're going to get, how that's going to look. San Jose State at Texas, Craig. This is 11 o'clock on ABC. There are a lot of things with Texas that we need to see improved if they're going to stay in the playoff hunt. We need to see that offensive line not only executing when attempting to block people, but executing and attempting to go to the right person or attempting to block a human. And then I think the backs and the quarterback have to be thrown into that mix as well, because I thought there was just some confusion with protections. And then we want to see the quarterback just calm down, right? Like, just take a deep breath, stick with your fundamentals. Don't feel like you're kind of freaking out and being overly twitchy on the field the entire time. I want to see if he takes that step in start number 2 with a lot less pressure on him, by the way, a lot less eyeballs on him in DKR against San Jose State as opposed to what he had last week against Ohio State.
Yeah, I also want to see the receivers create some separation. I thought, as much as anything else in the game, maybe the most underwhelming part of Arch Manning's debut last week was how disappointing his receivers were. I mean, Steve Sarkisian, talking with him this offseason, he says, I don't think we drop off at all at wide receiver, bud. Like, I think we're going to be good. I'm like, awesome, man. I can't wait to watch, because I loved your group last year. And I don't know how you saw it. There wasn't anybody open. I mean, I know there's a lot of man zone coverage and stuff, but, like, goodness gracious alive. Like, it was highly disappointing. I also don't feel like the edge defenders last week were nearly as much of a factor as I thought they could be. Like, I knew Ohio State was pretty good guard to guard, but tackles, I thought they had a chance to maybe make some plays against them, and I feel like the edges of that defense were really quiet last week outside of Trey Moore, who had a couple nice moments. So I don't know if you saw it similar. Like, I want to see those guys just take over and dominate.
Yeah, I didn't feel like we called Colin Simmons' name or heard his name called in that game much. And I thought the Texas offensive line did an excellent job in the run game to just kind of maintain some things, especially at the line of scrimmage. Texas 8-0 all-time against the Mountain West. The average margin of victory, 41-7. They've won 7 straight home openers. Last time Texas started 0-2. Anyone?
03.
Don't know.
1992.
Whoa.
The last time Texas started 0-2.
I just went back and watched a couple plays from Colin Simmons, and he had 2 plays that he was impactful in the game. One was on a screen where he was unblocked and hit the quarterback. Nice. And one was on a bootleg where he was the backside and was working against a bluff tight end and put some pressure on the quarterback. That was it. Other than that, in which plays he was actually engaged with an offensive line, not one win.
Yeah, you could say Ethan Burke affected that game more than he did, and that shouldn't happen with his skill set and his ability and the way what he has, the physical setup to be able to do for Texas. He should be manhandling guys, and not necessarily against Ohio State, but he should be having his way. He should be manhandling guys in this game against San Jose State. So we'll see if he shows up. Didn't have big issues with the Texas defense, obviously, but want to see them continue to play in a similar fashion to what they did a week ago. Utah State at Texas A&M. I don't know how much we're going to get from this one, but I do want to see, and you and I didn't talk much about this. And I get this, Greg. This is with a lot of quarterbacks. I understand that you could probably make this general discussion point about anybody that drops back in the pocket and throws the ball. But it was a glaring difference with Marcel Reed when there was a little bit of pressure or the possibility of pressure as opposed to when there was a clean pocket. And it wasn't to the extent of, a little bit of pressure, I'm going to tuck the ball and go. It was feet get happy, a little bit of panic attack and then quickly release the football. And most of the time, weren't near as accurate as he needed to be. So I would like to see him with a little bit more poise when things are breaking down or have the potential to break down, unlike a week ago. And then they got to run the football, bottom line. Like, A&M should have the offensive line to run the ball, should have the tight ends to run the ball, should have the backs to run the ball. They need to prove against Utah State that they can go out and do that.
Fair. I actually thought Marcel Reed had a decent day.
I would just say watch the plays where he was pressured. He looked like a
no. I mean, there was one that was okay, but like I agree with you. Like under pressure, there was definitely a little skittish in the pocket, but with a clean pocket, I thought he threw some nice passes. Like he was not afraid to work the middle of the field. That was something. Yeah. That was an area of growth and hopeful expectation. There were some big misses. There were a couple plays left on the field. I don't know if that gets fixed overnight. Like he did not. I don't know if he's ever going to be like a super high level, crazy, never miss type of guy. Like, I don't know if that's ever going to be him, but I thought the accuracy actually looked somewhat improved. With it being week 1, I'm not overly concerned about being a little skittish in the pocket, because on the stick routes and on the underneath, on the bubbles and the short throws, I thought the ball was kind of on the money and hit guys right in the face mask. It's just the deep ball accuracy is something I want to see improved, and there definitely were a couple misses on those.
Absolutely. All right, so we'll see if that sort of corrects itself and is a little bit different for A&M. But at the end of the day, they have to run the football. And I don't think there's any doubt about that, because that's going to be where they hang their hat most of the year. There's a reason Auburn Athletics hand-selected Andrews Sports Medicine's Dr. Benton Emblem and Charles Pitts to serve as their team physicians. They provide the highest quality sports medicine care in an effort to keep the Tiger student-athletes safe, healthy, and competing at the highest level. If Andrews Sports Medicine is a choice for Auburn Athletics, there's no doubt they should be your family's #1 choice for sports medicine and orthopedic care as well. Andrews Sports Medicine, 7 locations across central Alabama, from Birmingham, Coleman, Gardendale, Hoover, Pelham, and Trussville. They offer same-day, next-day appointments for acute sports injuries. Visit AndrewSportsMedicine.com to begin your journey of achieving victory over injury. We'll discuss some of the lines from this weekend. Texas A&M, by the way, 31.5-point favorite. GMAC, is that too much?
That's a lot.
Texas 36.
Nowadays in college football, tell me this: like, how often in college football are you feeling really confident about just an absolute beatdown with the pace the teams play at, and how defenses are kind of ahead of the offenses, and you don't really know who you're playing against?
If you're talking Power 5 college football, I'm with you. If you're talking JUCO college football, no, we're getting bad box scores of the day. That we're going to hit that. So, yeah,
well, sure. Completely fair and understandable. But
I'm with you.
Know.
It doesn't feel like the monster blowouts are as prominent as they were 5.
Even the ones that are blowouts, it's like you can usually point to, Ole Miss is a good example. Like, first half, it was kind of interesting there for a bit because of the 2 interceptions, right?
Yep.
Like, I don't know.
I'm with you. All right, so when Steve joins us, we'll ask him, Alabama, Auburn, those lines too big, a couple others when we come back next right here on Jox. Welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Friday, September 5th, 7:34 a.m. McElroy in Lexington. I'm in Tuscaloosa. Stanford Steve is in Norman. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How we doing, boys?
Doing great. And GMAX, Stanford Steve, each week brought to us by our friends at Atlas Senior Living.
Yeah, and they do such a great job around the community. I always appreciate Atlas Senior Living. They take care of people. They do it the right way. They have communities all throughout the Southeast, and they will continue to strive to make sure that your loved one's living experience is as good and as cultivated as humanly possible. Go to atlasseniorliving.com. The beauty is while you're there, once you're learning about Atlas, you can also join their pick'em contest, the public pick'em contest, by clicking on the football banner. You can enter and select your picks. Every single week, you get a chance to win a $150 Amazon gift card. Last week's winner was Brianna Albies. She picked fantastic, and the resident winner was Miss Seba Woods from the Goldton at South Haven in South Haven, Mississippi. So congrats to Brianna and Seba for winning the Atlas Senior Living Pick'em contest. You can join now by going to atlasseniorliving.com and click on that football banner. Steve, a lot of really good lines this week. Week 2 is when we clean up. Traditionally, just absolutely wear them out because of overreaction. Of all the lines this week that make the least sense, there's one that stands out to me. I'm just curious where you're going. Which one is it?
One? Oh, man. I think it's got to be Baylor.
Yes.
Look at Baylor,
Yes. That's my guy. I knew it.
Going back and watching it, obviously, all the credit goes to Auburn. But I just feel like there's still a lot of good in Baylor. Like, if they're on your schedule and you watched them last week, you're kind of like, oh, boy, we got to prep for this team. Like, Sawyer's a dude. The defense is only going to get better with Aranda. And like I said, Auburn with the quarterback run, great game plan. But, like, SMU, man, like, it feels like, playoff team last year, Jennings back, Rhett's back, and you're giving 2 at home. I think Baylor's very, very sneaky this week.
All right, Stanford Steve joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline, talking lines each and every week. Some of the ones that Greg and I discussed a little bit earlier in the show, are they too big? Texas 36.5, A&M 31.5, Auburn 43.5, obviously Alabama 34.5. Do those stick out where we are in today's college football is just hold on a second, way too big, or are you more in line with I feel good about those?
Well, Greg will love this. Being around Coach Saban now every week, it's like, watch out now. How are you going to handle it? How are you going to handle it? How are you going to handle a big win? I know he would be all over the place with some teams like this. I look at Oregon, Cole. I think Oregon, you've seen the spat between Gundy and Lanning going back and forth. And Oklahoma State is a team that before the year, I didn't see it. I thought that the season win total was around 5.5. I put them in the same category as UCLA. I thought they were up against it. Now they're really up against it. Their quarterback's done. That won the starting job after, I think, a couple quarters. And now you're going to Eugene with Lanning. And you guys know him. He's not going to mess around. He's got that James Franklin deal in him at the end of games where they're going to punch one in whenever they can. So I like the Ducks to put it on Oklahoma State Saturday in Eugene.
Don't you dare talk about James Franklin in the late cover. That is one too many times I've been burned. I will never do it again. I can promise you that. Especially when he's tempo under 1 minute, like with up 38, the line 41.5. Anyways, looking at a couple others that stood out to me, Baylor was the correct answer earlier, by the way. Another one, though, that doesn't make a ton of sense is Duke. Illinois, top 12 team in the country, fresh off an absolutely dominant win. Then you dive a little deeper, and you find out that Illinois' left tackle is nursing plantar fasciitis. The right tackle rolled his ankle in the game last week. They're down their top corner, and he's questionable as to whether or not he goes. I kind of like Duke this week. Am I crazy?
No, not at all. Not at all, Greg. I'm with you there. It looks funny because these home teams are getting a couple points. and the ranked team. I mean, what's our Illinois now in the AP up to 12? And you see a 12 ranked team only giving 2 points to an unranked team. But being down in that area, seeing Manny Diaz and having people talk to him last week, he's super confident. He really, really likes his team. And I look at everybody's going to talk about the quarterback. I thought Manny's done a great job of surrounding Mensa with some toys to play with. They got some skill guys.
Their weapons can go.
So I look at Duke as very, very dangerous. Altmaier's never been a guy that has, I feel like, succeeded against heavy pressure stuff, and you know how much Manny likes to send pressure packages. So as long as Duke could keep them in those manageable situations where Manny could dial it up, I think Duke's very, very dangerous Saturday.
Stanford Steve joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline with us every week. Thanks to our friends at Atlas Senior Living. Michigan, Oklahoma, one of the bigger games in the Southeastern Conference. You're there in Norman. A lot of reason for folks to be excited. You do have to take the opponent into consideration, though, and there are a couple of things that weren't super clean in that operation, mainly on offense with the run game. How are things looking, feeling for what they're going to see with this Michigan front and OU -5.5? Where are you on that one?
Yeah, it's really interesting, Cole. There's a lot of talk about both teams and what they're going to do with their game plans up front. It sounds like Oklahoma's going to go with 2 new tackles on offense. And if you watched the game last week, I think it's 38 rushes for 101 yards. Still can't run the ball consistently. Blaylock, who got the start, who's a freshman running back, he got banged up. He's out, so it looks like Jaden Ott is going to be the guy. And then you have the Barham injury for Michigan. And Michigan didn't look great. I thought, Underwood had some flashes with some throws. Greg, rules expert question, was his crackback block legal?
On the Barham targeting?
No, Underwood on the crackback block on the touchdown run. Did you see that?
Oh, you talking about Michigan?
Yeah. Underwood.
When he cracked back, I don't recall.
Yeah.
I didn't see it. I only watched his throws. I don't care about him blocking.
Wow.
He threw it.
Yeah. No, so it's still like a feeling out process. I think the first half is enormous, Cole, for Oklahoma. They have to get out on a good start and get some points on the board. Mateer's going to do his thing. I was really impressed with the receivers. I still think it's an under game. I think 23 points wins this game with the veracity and relentlessness both defenses play with. 23 gets you there. It's an enormous spot. I mean, if Michigan wins, the Underwood hype is going to be incredible, and this is a crazy place to have your first road start. All off season, I've thought about who is Sharon going to go with in this game, and he made it clear right from camp that they got their guy in their freshman. So we'll see, but I think it's a defensive dominated game, and I think it's under's the way to go.
Can I answer your question?
The right side for sure.
Yes, Cole, please.
I thought it was legal because I thought he was. I mean, number one, you and I were always taught if you can see the numbers, then you're good, and we've subtracted from that just a little bit, but. I thought from a field perspective, he's even with him. He's not behind him at all. He's out in front of him. And I understand the whole judgment process of this if we want to take this type of block out of football. Yeah. But when you're essentially by positioning, you're a lead blocker in front of the ball carrier. He was in front of the ball carrier on the field, which is why I don't think you can throw it there. But I'm sure there's a new rule technicality in which we can say, this looks mean, so we have to throw the flag.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Everybody was in awe of the hit and him doing that. I was like, in this day and age, it feels like that's a flag, and I was just curious because nobody brought it up.
I also think since the defender didn't go down, I think if it's a legitimate, if it's a block, not a bump, like for the folks who didn't see it at home, it's a little bit more of a bump than a block. A little more devastating than your normal quarterback collision, I'll say. I'll give him credit for that. I mean, he went for it. He definitely went for it. But
no doubt.
We're not talking about what we saw from Tennessee against Syracuse or anything out in space. But he went for it. But I just think the positioning of where he was.
Can I give you one more really stinky line, if I may?
So much for blocks.
Yeah, we understand the quarterback blocking thing. Like, as a guy that delivered a block in my final game as a college player and just cleaned out a safety, I don't want to hear about it. Like,
Was it a flag? Should it have been penalized?
I should have lowered my head and then got targeting crown and just went off in infamy. But no. Moving to one other line that stinks to high heaven is Mississippi State, Arizona State. I look at this game, and here's what I think is maybe the most interesting factor, Steve, is that we've all played in Davis Wade, Cole and I both. You, however, have not. I'm sure it was comparable when you went to Berkeley. But the cowbells are freaking ripping, and it's hard to play. It's loud. And this is an Arizona State team that had 12 penalties last week, had two enormous plays wiped out by penalty, and frankly kind of looked a little sloppy. And I don't know, man. I feel like Levy's had this one circled, and Arizona State has had this one on their radar for a while. So how do we play it?
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. You know, Kenny Dillingham playing into it, saying they got to stay an hour and a half away because the only hotels that are close to Starkville are casinos. So he's building this up too as a monster game. But I mean, for that conference in the Big 12, this is a monster. You don't know where Mississippi State's going to finish in the SEC. This is the SEC at a road game. Michigan's going to play a true road game for the first time ever at an SEC school. So we got some uncharted waters. I look at Mississippi State and how they played last year. They weren't wowed by them. I thought, they struggled. But that was when Levitt, I don't think, really knew that Tyson was his guy. And Tyson had 12 catches last week. But no, Mississippi State's very, very dangerous. I wouldn't be surprised if they pulled the upset here. I would take Mississippi State a home dog in this game.
Yeah, it feels like a dangerous one for Arizona State. I liked a little bit of what I saw from Mississippi State last week also. The one that I look at and just say across the board, one way or the other, either team is just too big, is South Florida at Florida. 17.5 for this one. We didn't get a lot from what we saw from the Gators against the Sharks last week, although execution-wise, pretty clean up front on the offensive line. This is just going to be a different group. This is a defensive front that's going to be super problematic. I would imagine this game slows down a lot because of that. I think South Florida can get a couple throws. Byron Brown's going to hit a few down the field. I don't know consistently if they can hold up against that pass rush, but 17.5? I just look at that one and say it's way too big. Steve, what are your thoughts?
I agree. I like what Golis brings to the table. When he has a healthy quarterback, South Florida is very, very dangerous. Florida's got, I feel like, the opposite game plan next week when they go to LSU and they got Nussmeier who's going to sling it all over. Brown's a guy that, could do some serious damage with his legs. So for me, this is about the defense for Florida. This is what I want to see against a quarterback run game and then a team that can get pretty creative offensively. If Florida rolls South Florida, watch out. Watch out because we know what they have in September. They go to LSU, they go to Miami, and they're the biggest wild card to me in the SEC. I love Napier. We've talked about it on this show. I love how he's handled business. And he finally has his best team. But I'm with you, though. 17.5 that's 3 possessions. I would think the Bulls could keep it closer than that.
And that's why I love it. I think it's so stinky.
Yeah.
You have to take Florida there. Like, the sharp play is Florida. And that's because it doesn't – we just watched them. Extra 2 days rest. They're going to be coming off a huge win. They got a chance in the G5. Florida, they hadn't played anybody yet. They got LSU next week. Like, to me, that line stinks to high heaven. It's Florida or nothing in that game. Okay. If you're playing at the sharp play. Now, I'm with you. I can't do it because I watched that defense. I thought they flew around. I'm not playing that game, not to save my life, but that one stinks to high heaven.
Agreed.
Missouri, Kansas, quick lean there.
Kansas. I got to see it with Missouri. Pagula is going to be the guy now with the other quarterback getting injured. I just feel like Lance is built for these kind of games to keep it close. Eli's been talking all off season about Kansas coming to Missouri. But I feel like Kansas, with that run game and the creativeness and how they get out on the perimeter, I think that could cause problems and keep them in this game. I would lean towards taking the points with the Jayhawks.
There you go, Steve. Always great stuff, man. Appreciate the time. Enjoy Norman. That'll be a good one. And look forward to catching up next week.
Greg, sorry about your Cowboys.
Oh, devastated. Sorry you had to stay up and watch it after the delay.
You guys are spoiled. Central Time is the best for sports fans. This is so nice to be on Central Time.
I'll counter Mountain Time as the best. But,
Mountain Time's where it's
Central
at.
for the ones that have actual populations, Central Time would be the best, of course. Thank you, Steve.
Wow.
All right, boys.
I'm just saying Mountain Time's only in, like, what, 3 states? It's
Just
I mean,
absolute shots fired
like
at
5.
Jackson Hole.
okay, 5. Nothing against those people, but I'm just saying, top to bottom, there's just not a lot of folks get to live
That's
in
all
it.
right.
I think
For
Mountain
all of
Time's
our
the best
listeners
TV
in South
window time.
Dakota, for all of our listeners in Piedmont, I'm sorry that Cole hates your state. Goodness gracious.
What time zone is Alaska on? That's all I need to know.
They get their own. It's
chosen
Alaskan.
sons.
yeah,
It's Alaskan time.
Russia, I don't like how. That's not even Western. That's not even Pacific time. Like it's one left of that. No.
I honestly don't know. I don't know what time.
Call
it's
your
Alaska.
boy at Soldotna.
He hadn't called me back. I'm trying to get the coach on the show. He hadn't come on yet. They got an Eagle. By the way, Soldotna's got Eagle River tonight or today at 3. And maybe that is tonight for us. I have no idea. 3
Yes.
o'clock Central Eastern Standard Alaskan time.
3
I
o'clock
don't
local
know.
kick or 3 o'clock? Is it
That's what
Saturday
I don't
there?
know.
It might be Saturday there.
Probably is. Who knows? We got a road scholar that doesn't even know what time it is in Alaska. That's how good we are today. All right, when we come back, we'll continue Max Ball into games from this weekend right after this on Jox. Welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Appreciate you being with us. Appreciate Stanford Steve hopping in. Article up now at On 3 with Chris Lowe and Andy Staples on things around Alabama football. We'll talk to Chris Lowe about that article at 9:20 today. Greg in Lexington. I'm in Tuscaloosa, set for practice and meetings today. GMAC will hop out of the show 20, 30 minutes early to go meet with Coach Stoops and the guys there in Lexington. Please tell Slacks I said hello. And we'll get a good one there tomorrow. We'll get a potential good one here in Tuscaloosa for different reasons. Not necessarily the score, but just find out where this team is, how they bounce back, how they treat some of the adversity from a week ago, and how that affects them. A couple other SEC matchups, GMAC 2:30, ESPN Plus, Austin P, Georgia. I don't have anything other than will Elo Mendoza play more and be a factor that I'm looking forward to seeing in this game, and I guess maybe some more freshman offensive line play. That's about all I can give you in this one.
Yeah. Help me out a little bit. Did you think, because, I mean, everybody kind of came at me a little bit. Like, I watched Georgia last week, and I didn't think it was, like, amazing. I thought it was fine. You know, I thought it was a fine start for sure. But I come out of that saying, like, damn, Georgia's going to be unstoppable. You know what I mean? Like, did you come away with that game, like, feeling that way about Georgia?
No, I needed to see Stockton operate the offense. I feel like he did that extremely well.
I think he ran the ball well.
Yeah, he made decisions of when to run the ball. He missed a couple of throws. But I mean, he's not going to be a super sharp, accurate passer. Like, he's not going to be Danny Werfel. That's not who he is. He gives you toughness. He gives you leadership. Guys want to play for him. He's got the arm strength. He throws a nice ball, but he's not going to hit every pass. I'm okay with that. I thought the offensive line got after people. I wanted to see that. Defensively, I thought they played fast. I think Mendoza just kind of has to come into his own a little bit more before he gets into the lineup. But I didn't come away saying that's our national championship favorite right there. But I also didn't come away with any extra concerns. So, like you said, it was fine. It's not a great football team they played, and now it's going to be a much inferior opponent, and we probably won't be able to take anything from this one. You will be able to take away more from Max Ball right here on Jox when we come back.